Hi guys, welcome back to Hood Tales. I'm your boy Tommy, and in today's video we're coming in with a substance review of Xanax. So, I'm basically just going to be doing a pros and cons list, and then I'm going to be giving it a rating at the end of the video. So, I'm going to be talking mainly about prescription Xanax because I have been fortunate enough to been prescribed real Xanax, not the 2 milligram bars, but Xanax nonetheless. I've been prescribed the 0.5s and the 1 milligrams before. So, without further ado, let's get into this video. So the first pro we got is it's very easy to hide. It obviously has no smell. Obviously, if the I'm pretty sure police dogs can pick up on the smell, but if you just have it in your car and you get pulled over, hopefully they don't call a canine unit or anything like that. It's gonna be hard to find, especially since their pills are so small. It's just really easily concealable. And I mean, if worse comes to worse, if you get pulled over, if you're slick enough, just if you really have to do what you have to do, unless if you have a fuck ton, then if you just have like three, then just take them, But anyways, you can hide them in like fucking anything small. It's really easy to hide. So that's the first pro. So getting on to the second pro is it's pretty affordable. Now this is kind of depends on where you live, and it depends on if it's a real Xanax, prescription Xanax, or not. Real Xanax is very, and I mean very hard to come by, especially the 2 milligram Xanax. So, most of the time, if you're buying Xanax off the street, you're going to be buying the bars, the ladders, the Hulks. I don't know what you want to call the blue ones. Those ones, I think they're the labeled B707 or something like that. School buses, all that. Just the GG209s, all that stuff. Most of the time, it's pressed. So those can run pretty cheap. Now, when I lived in Nevada, people were still taxing for them. People were charging like almost pretty much $10 a pill because everyone says their stuff is real. Everyone is, oh yeah, my shit's script. I just got from the pharmacy. All that bullshit. It's just not. But I mean, hey, now if the cheapest I've seen it go for is probably like $8, $6. Now real Xanax is really hard to come by. Fortunately for me, I knew this one guy. Unfortunately, he's in prison now. He was pushing everything. To be honest, I don't even know his real name. I just knew him by his Snapchat name. But he had like the 1 milligram Xanax, and he was charging like $8 for those. Which, to be honest, $8 for one real milligram Xanax isn't bad in my opinion. Now, again, some of you guys out there might be saying, "What the fuck? That's hella expensive. Fuck that." But if you want the real deal, you got to pay to play, pretty much. So, that's the next pro. The next pro is that is going kind of into the high. It like, it might sound weird when I say this, but it kind of makes you feel like you're God. Like, it makes you feel like you can say anything or do anything, and it feels like you're on top of the world. Like, you could be, like, at a party, some big ass guy bumps into you, wants to start a fight. For example, say you're like 5'1", some 6'6" guy bumps into you, you're off like 3 bars. You really don't care. You really don't care because you think, I'm gonna beat the shit out of this guy. You just do not give a shit. Obviously, you're gonna get your ass kicked, but in your head, you're thinking, well, I'm gonna beat this guy's ass. Or, not only with fighting, but like, just in general, you think, I can just, I can do anything. So, I guess that's my next pro. Um, the next pro on the list is it takes away anxiety completely. Now, even if you take it as prescribed, it works great for taking away anxiety. It works perfect. Sorry, hold on, let me get a sip of my McDonald's. Let me take a hit of my vape. But it just like takes away all anxiety. So I mean that's what it's prescribed for. If you have a panic attack, seizures, you know, if you they'll typically prescribe it to you if, for example, you have like just lost a family member or lost someone really close to you, and very depressed and all that. They'll typically prescribe you it, not for a long time. Xanax is something that they do not prescribe for months on months on months, unless if the doctor is really cool. Then uh, you know, but other than that, they're gonna prescribe it maybe a month, 2 months at most, depending on like how you actually feel. And some people need it. Some people actually need it, but since it kind of goes the same thing with like Oxycontin and all the opioids. It's like some people truly do need it, but it's so hard to get because so many people abuse it. So, you know, that sucks. So the next pro, which is the final pro, is, hold on, let me look at my nose. Um, it makes you feel relaxed. It makes you feel calm. Like if you, for example, like I don't really want to compare it to weed, but like it's kind of like it's hard to explain, but like you just get this relaxed, calm feeling. Like say if you just smoked like some like 120% THC wax, like obviously that ain't real, but like think of something like that of an indica. It just makes you feel just you just want to sit in the couch. If you're into video games, you want to play video games, watch YouTube, watch TV. It's nice just to do when you literally have jack shit going on. So that's all the pros I really have for Xanax. Now, getting into the cons. Uh, the first con, and one of the major cons, it's not the most major, but one of them is if you get caught with this shit by the police, you're going to jail. No, you're getting your ass taken to jail no matter what. This ain't no marijuana where if you just have a little bit, maybe you could talk your way out of it. Just say it's personal use. Like write you a citation. Give you a court date, or if you're in an illegal state, then it might be a little bit harder. But even then, most of the time they'll just write you a citation. If you for that. But Xanax, hell no, they don't give a fuck. They taking your ass to jail, even if it's just one, even if it's a half a pill. They taking your ass to jail. If once they test that shit and see if there's alprazolam in it, it's a wrap. It's a wrap. And if you have a lot, then they're probably gonna be think you're selling it. You know. So that's the first con. The second con is, sorry, I'm looking at my notes here. Um, a lot of the bars, a lot of Xanax, especially Xanax, is pressed, I would say, 90% of the time. Like 90 to 95% of the time. The other 5% uh, is like if you're getting it off a friend who possibly got prescribed it, or if you just really got lucky with a dealer who doesn't fuck with Xanax and got prescribed it and is selling it. But most of the time, it's just all fake. You don't see people really pressing uh, .5 Xanax or 1 milligram Xanax. It's always the 2 milligrams that they always press. And side note, quick story: when I had went in to go into rehab, I the doctor asked me to use like the piss test, just to see like what they need to prescribe you to help you get off of whatever you're doing. And so I told him I have benzos and weed and cocaine that might show up. And so I did the piss test, Obviously, I'm not getting in trouble because I'm in fucking rehab. This is my first day there. And he was like, okay, so he was like, weed showed up, cocaine didn't show up, but also I didn't do that for like a week before I went into rehab. But then he had asked me if I did fentanyl. I was like, no, I've never done fentanyl in my life. He's like, you don't do heroin? I was like, no. And he explained to me, which I kind of already knew, is they just press it in Xanax. That's what maybe makes you feel slumped. Like if you take real Xanax and you take like, say for example, you have like a 2 milligram real bar and you take 2 of those, you wake up in the morning, you're not gonna remember shit. You're not gonna remember what the fuck you did when you took it. With fake Xanax, you're gonna feel something. You're gonna feel tired as fuck. Don't get me wrong, you're still probably gonna feel pretty good, but you're getting pretty much an opioid high. There might be a little bit of alprazolam in there, but for the most part, it's just fentanyl, and it's just nasty. It's gross. It's you just don't want to risk it. It's awful. Now, with that being said, there's also kind of like a controversy on this. Say you've never had real Xanax before, you've never taken real Xanax, you've only taken press, and say like you're trying to get off of Xanax, or what you think is your drug of choice, Xanax. It will be so much easier because it's basically an opioid withdrawal. Yeah, you're gonna feel like go through the opioid withdrawal feelings, but at least it's not a Xanax withdrawal, which I think is my one of my points here. Which third point, it's very, and I mean very addictive, very addictive. Now, again, if you are someone, like people who take it as prescribed or only really take it when they have a panic attack, that's nothing to worry about. It helps so much for people who actually have those types of problems and who take it responsibly. I'm talking about the people who abuse it. That, and especially real Xanax, that shit, you will build a tolerance so fast, and it is so addictive because it feels like you just speak your mind. You just like you're not really afraid of anything. You know? Hold on a second. Sorry, I haven't had nicotine in like a week, and I've been feeding. I just got my vape, so I've been hitting this shit all day. But anyways, um, yeah, it's very addictive. Um, I knew some guy at rehab who was prescribed Xanax, real Xanax, and what he had told me, he could be, I don't think he's lying, but he told me that like he knew the doctor, and like he would get Xanax, and he was on it for 6 months, and I would see this guy throughout rehab just he could barely get out of bed, throwing up. He'd leave class all the time. He mood swings, just rebound anxiety, all that awful shit. So very addictive. So that brings me to my next point. Um Withdrawals. Kind of tying in if you are trying to quit, or if, let's just say, you run out. Uh, Again, this kind of really only applies to real Xanax. If you are addicted to it and you don't have it for like a day, 2 days, it's going to fucking suck. It's like you're in hell. So there's something, obviously Xanax calms you down, gives you less anxiety, but there's something called rebound anxiety that if you don't have it, imagine the anxiety you already had before you have taken Xanax. Imagine that times like 50. That's what you're going to have when you're going through withdrawal. It is awful. And some people might say, like, oh, like, yeah, that fucking sucks, but, like, can it get any worse? Oh, yeah, it can get so much worse. In fact, you can actually have seizures and possibly die off of Xanax if you do not quit properly. This is not cocaine. This is not Adderall. This isn't meth. This isn't an opioid where you can just wake up one day and like know in your head like I'm done, and like you can be truly done, and you're gonna feel like shit, obviously, for a month, or I don't know. I've never been addicted to any opioids or anything like that, but when I went to rehab, people sick, throwing up, all that shit. But at least you cannot die from it or have a seizure. This shit you could just, it's very possible that you can have a seizure and die. And the only other thing that can happen to you is alcohol, which a lot of people don't know either. Now, I'm kind of getting off topic with alcohol, but so yeah, that's the other con. And then the last con is it makes you lazy as fuck. If you think you're gonna take Xanax and go to work, boy, you are stupid as fuck. Trust me, I know. I've done it. It's stupid. I had no weed. I had no Adderall, no cocaine. Again, kind of tying back, like, Xanax is cheap, so I got that. It was probably fentanyl, let's be honest, took it right before I went to work. I lasted probably 30 minutes, and then I was like, I can't do this, and came up with some bullshit ass excuse, and left work. You're not getting shit done. You're just not at all. Maybe it's just me. maybe some people do get shit done, but from the majority of the people who I know who take Xanax, you're not getting shit done. You're gonna feel great for a couple of hours, and then you're just gonna pass the fuck out. It's just that's what it is. And then so that's all the cons. Now the last thing I have to point out is this could possibly be a pro and a con depending on why you want to take it, and like just on why you want to take it and what your intentions are. So for example, so basically it once you take it, and especially if you have no tolerance, or even if you do have a high tolerance, like say you have no tolerance at all and you take 2 milligrams of real Xanax, you wake up the next morning, you don't remember jack shit that you did the night before after you took it. You do not know anything. Now that could be a good thing, or that could be a bad thing, So like say for example, you had for example a rough breakup or some shit, like some awful thing just happened, and you just want to completely forget about it, you just don't want to deal with it, that could be a pro. You take it, you wake up, you're gonna just completely forget what you did. Like maybe eventually later on, maybe if you're texting friends, or there might be telltale signs, later on in the day, if you Snapchat or something, you're like, oh, okay. But if you don't have any of that, don't have any telltale signs, you're just not gonna know. Or if you're not with anyone, you're gonna have there's just no way to tell. But at the same time, it's also bad because it could be a con too, because say you take it and then you go off and drive, that's awful. That is the last thing you want to do when taking Xanax, is to drive. That is the worst thing you could possibly do, is go and drive, because it's awful. You will probably slump out and probably crash. I'm not saying 100%, but there is a pretty good chance, depending on how much you take, that you can crash. And again, especially if you're getting the fentanyl pressies, if you take too much of that, that also might be a GG. You might just OD off of the fentanyl. It's awful. So I mean, yeah, it's pretty bad in my opinion. Hold on one second. So to wrap this video up, hold on, let me hit my vape. This shit tastes good. By the way, if anyone wants to know, ice cola drip bars, the best in my opinion. Tastes exactly like Coca-Cola. So I have 5 pros, 5 cons, and then 1 kind of in between. So giving this on a scale of a rating of 1 to 10, 1 being like heroin, and 10 being weed, I would give it a 5. Maybe 5 or 6, I would say. If you can do it responsibly, say you don't have a plug or anything on it, but if you just take it maybe at a party or something like that, and that's really, that's it, maybe once every couple months or something, then it's a great time. Don't get me wrong, it's a great time. But if once you get addicted, trust me, it fucks your life up. That's why I went to rehab. I think I touched that in my video of my first video about why I went to rehab, but it made I literally could not hold a job for about a year. Out of all the jobs I worked together, I probably worked in total for 4 months out of every job I had, and I had at least 5 jobs. It is impossible to keep a job when you're on have Xanax. It's just so fucking it's impossible. So that's why I give it a 5. Again, it's very addictive. I do not recommend it for anyone. And I'll have another video later of how to quit Xanax. And I'll go into both ways, like you're probably just gonna think I'm gonna talk about like go to rehab, like whatever everyone would tell you, but I'll tell you like what to do if you really don't want to go to rehab. But again, that will be another video. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure to hit that like button. Make sure to subscribe, hit that notification bell. And if there's any other drugs that you want me to talk about that I've done, I will definitely get to it. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys have a great day. See you guys in the next video. Deuces.